And welcome everyone, and I'm very glad that you could join us today. My name is Megan Poole, and I'm the Central Regional Coordinator of the Indiana State Library's Professional Development Office. I will be the host and question moderator for today's webinar, which is Get to Know EBSCO. Our presenter is Lisa Jones. She's the Senior Customer Training Specialist, SaaS and Databases at EBSCO, with 14 years of experience as a systems specialist in both academic and public libraries. Lisa has enabled herself to specialize in supporting SaaS products and services, especially EBSCO Discovery Service, since joining EBSCO. After this webinar has been transcribed, it will be available on the Indiana State Library's archived webinars page. If you are watching an archived recording of this presentation, information on how to obtain your LEU is in the video's description in YouTube. For weekly updates on upcoming trainings to learn more about what's happening in libraries across the state, please subscribe to the Indiana State Library's e-newsletter, The Wednesday Word, and check our continuing education website for other professional development opportunities. So at this time, let's get started. And thank you so much for being with us today, Lisa. I'll hand the presentation over to you.
Hi everybody. Thanks, Meg. I'll just dive right in and get to sharing and let me know if make sure you can see my screen. Somebody,
Looks good.
thank you. Always don't want to get started without that. And then I know Meg said you all will be looking at the chat, so please feel free during the session to ask any questions within the chat. I will also be looking at it, but also stop certain times in the session and just to make sure that there's no questions, because usually you have questions that are relevant to what's on screen, so I don't want to go too far ahead of myself. And again, yeah, we can follow up with any questions that aren't answered, but I think we'll be able to handle everything between the Inspire administrators and me. So I do have just a few slides, and then we're going to go live and just do some searches. So we will be looking at a resource overview, which really is just an introduction of the online library resources that you have through Inspire. And since I'm from EBSCO, I'll be focusing on the EBSCO resources you have. But don't forget, you have other resources too. So if any of those resources that you see online um, interest you that we're not going to talk about today, definitely put that in the chat, and then we can make sure that someone answers that, and then get you additional information about anything you find on the website. So just an introduction. Thanks again for introducing me already. So you already know everything about me. I have been Inspire's trainer for a long time too, the trainer for Indiana, and I've been in your the library right there at the Capitol, and it's beautiful. And just FYI, I've been around a while. So we're going to be looking at just kind of how to navigate that Inspire website. Some of you may have your own websites that you're helping, your patrons or your researchers find information on, but we'll start with that. Any questions at all, let me know. We're going to be looking at just the different interfaces that you have from EBSCO, some of the different content that's within the databases. And then let's look at your A to Z page. That's kind of where you pick and choose what you might want to be doing some research on, focused databases that are typically focusing on a specific topic, or sometimes they're multidisciplinary. Then we're going to go in and do some searches and just look at the searching interface, look at some tools that you have in there and some easy ways that you can find resources and filter down to what you're looking for. And then I do actually want to show you our support site too. There's lots of promotional materials on there. So if you do have the need for that, and if you are creating your own promotional materials within your libraries, EBSCO, at least if nothing else, can give you kind of a starting point, and then you can take the information and build upon it. So just two words I want to kind of get over with, which is a database, which is basically just your online library resources. So This would be ebooks and journal magazine and magazine articles. So you're searching typically at the article level. You're going to be finding lots of different popular reading resources, along with K-12 academic resources, and then higher level academic resources. So you have all of that mixed up that you're searching. And then those will also include the primary source documents if you're looking for those. And a lot of times it's really easy to pick those things out, and I'll show you how you can do that. And then what we're using to search all of these materials are the interfaces. So the interfaces are basically just a search interface or a user interface. And you have a lot of different ones from EBSCO. So kind of the basic interface that everyone gets, even if you just buy one database from EBSCO, everyone gets EBSCO host. So you don't pay for that. It's just something that comes with the resource, the database, and it gives you a way to search that database, right? So EBSCO host is kind of the base searching interface. Then you also have the discovery searching interface, which searches things or can search things outside of EBSCO. So it searches all of your EBSCO resources plus additional resources. Like, let's just say, for instance, if you had Gale resources, it would search that at the same time too. It would search a lot of other resources um, so that so that you're finding things kind of, as what may be closer to what the library owns as a whole instead of just what you get from EBSCO. Then you have the specialized interfaces. Those a lot of times fall under the Explora brand. So when I say specialized, we're going to look at that. But you have things like History Reference Center and Science Reference Center and Literary and actually they've been renamed to source centers. But either way, all of those centers that have a specialized topic are searched within that Explorer interface. And the Explorer interface, out of all of the other uh, EBSCO interfaces, is the one that's more visual. It starts out with a visual home page, and we'll definitely look at some of those. So told you it was short. We're going to go back to the live demo here. And I want to start here just to ground you on then what we just talked about. So where is the discovery service that may be searching more things than just EBSCO? And where are those specialized interfaces? Well, you guys have one of the best websites that I've seen and that I've worked with statewide in the United States. And the reason I say that is because it's very easy to navigate. If I'm a teacher or if I'm helping someone at a certain age, I know where to start. So I'm gonna I can go to these pages here, and I'll just go to the 5 to 8 and just kind of show you then. So if I scroll down, you do see, so here's that Explora. And so if you think about Explora, so here's names, here's like a name of a database, a name of a database, a name of a database. But Explora then is a small container that Inspire has created with specialized database for each grade. So that's why when you see Explora, you say, well, if I just click on it, I should be able to search. It looks the same, but it's really not, because when you go into the K4, it's specialized databases that are just for this kind of age or grade levels. Same with this, same with this. And when you get to the grades 9 through 12, you're looking at a lot of more adult materials, right? Or like adult reading level. So if you think about if why you're picking Explora, you don't have to then pick a specific database, let's just say on your A to Z database page. You don't have to pick the one kids database. It's already a small container for you. Um, so let's just look at one of the explorers. What I'll do is I'll kind of go in, do a search, and then we'll come back here and do another search. And I have to go through this back doorway, but I'll go ahead and let's just look at that. Let's say the 5 through 8. Let's look at that one. And again, you're going to click on it and authenticate and get through. I have to kind of go through this factor way. So let's look for, sorry about this long list too. Um, Looking for the middle school, maybe here it is. So let's just look at that Explorer for middle school and get a little grounded. So number one, the first thing I notice, well, the first thing I notice is, like I said, it's very visual and browsable. But look here. So if I just click this open, I just wanted you to get an idea. These have been chosen by the Inspire librarians for this group of students. So if you look at it, there's a lot. There's an ebook collection. There's a journal and magazine collection. There's some additional encyclopedias, and then there's those history source, literary reference source. So these are specialized databases. Um, and when you think about, let's just kind of focus on these history and literary and science. This is all mixed together with the um, multidisciplinary database, but these are also then separate Explorer interfaces. If I just wanted to look for history, if I just wanted to look for Literary Reference Center, I'm going to go to those interfaces. But here, I'm searching all of that. So I don't have to just go to one and then, oh, I didn't find stuff there and then go to the other. So this really is a very powerful search without users really having to think about, well, what should I choose to search? So let's scroll down. This interface will be different and it will show different popular topics, different exploration topics than the primary will. So if you are, if you wanted to click into the primary, you're going to see focused topics that are more made for that grade level. So as I scroll down, I just have some browsable topics here. I can explore all topics if I want. And then I do see some of the top magazines that are in here. So remember I said popular reading materials. There's Discover Magazine and Science News and Time Magazine. If I did, here's just kind of a focus on what primary source documents are. You can learn more about it. And then you also have featured ebooks. So there's some ebooks that are featured down here. This is by no means all of the amount of ebooks that you have. If you looked at these databases again, and I looked at this, I'm trying to think I know there's thousands of ebooks in here. So you really are searching a lot of materials and a lot of resources at the same time. Let's just browse through. And I'm going to click on the hot topic. This is it, like it or not. So as soon as I click on any of those topics, I get a general overview. And this is a cited source. So you can then, let's just say if I just want to know general information about our artificial intelligence, instead of using like a Wikipedia page, I'm in a safe space here in Explorer. I clicked on it. If I did go to read more, it's from an encyclopedia. So this is then a citable source. I'm going to go ahead and click that off. Anytime I click to read something, whether it be a PDF document or this is more of a text document, I do have a lot of tools over here. So remember that when you're reading, when you're in the environment, in any of the EBSCO interfaces, so we're in Explorer now, but this works the same in EBSCO Host. It works the same in your Discovery Service. Um, and so you're going to have these same tools over here. And I'll go into a few of these now, and maybe I'll go into a few later, but I really encourage you to explore these on your own and to see what's going to work best for your kind of learning environment or teaching environment, whether or not, because you're going to need these. A lot of times in the public library, maybe you don't need to share how to cite or source. But in the academic world, in the school world, then you might need to show users then, hey, by the way, when you're using something online, you need to make sure you document where you got that information from, right? So you do have the tool. One of the tools is Site. You can easily move this over. Let's say you wanted MLA. The students or the user should know what they're looking for here. And then really comes down to, I'm going to copy this, put it on my Word doc or whatever, my Google Doc, and then I can be done with it. Let me know if you have any questions at all. Some of these other tools, let's say I'm sharing the tool. This is going to be the ability to email it to myself or others. So if you are helping a patron or helping a student, you say, hey, let's just email this to your email right now, and then you can take it home and then work on it later or read it later. So you can take things out of the interfaces and out of the databases and send them. When you do have the option then to include the citation if you want. And then you can send it to multiple emails. So if you're sending it to a group, uh, you can do that too. And it gives you instructions right here. And it is sending the article out of the system, and it's not creating a link. And in fact, I think it does include the link to go back to, into the interface, but it definitely sends the full article out so you don't have to go back if you don't want to. So some of the other tools here, what if I just wanted to save it? I can do that here. I can also then have the ability to translate it. So the ability to translate is available um, for some articles, not all. But when I do see this world globe, then I do have the option then. And if you ever find anything in EBSCO that's not in English as the native writer, then you won't have the ability to translate it back to English, right? But if you do have, if it's in English, which the majority of your resources are, then you can have the need to translate to many, many different languages. So this
Oh,
is good.
Lisa, I'm so
Uh-huh.
sorry. Um, let's see here. Amanda Knoll, she said, I have found from experience that APA 7 does not always automatically have the correct capitalization, but it was still extremely helpful to copy and paste that information into my papers.
Yeah, good. Well, and you know what? We do have this disclaimer here. Hey, pay special attention to requirements. So we are getting these from the formatted language areas, but yes, you're right. There can be discrepancies in what maybe the exact MLA wants you to do. So just make sure, yeah, that you're checking that. So thanks. But it's a lot better start than just trying to create it on your own. And a lot of times, if you do ever see anything like an ongoing issue, then that's a great time to let EBSCO know about it. And that's going through the Connect service page, and I'll show you that at the end, because we really do want to make sure that things are as correct as possible. So thanks for that. So also the ability to listen is available in most of these articles too. That would be in all of the interfaces, in all of the articles, or in most of the articles, but it doesn't matter the format, the text version or the PDF version. But I can see the listen here, and I have a lot of controls then. So if I do want to change the word color, so this is really good for accessibility needs too. So if I'm sight impaired, or another issue where I would like the item read to me, then this is just an easy way to get it done. And then I can control all of a lot of different controls to help me then with that. And then if you have any users that need accessibility support, and because we're in Explora, which is more of a kids interface, It is asking you for this age requirement. But if you were in one of the adult interfaces like Discovery, reading the article, or EBSCO Host, reading the article, you would not have this age verification. And then you could request some accessibility support there. All right, thanks for the comments. And so we really just looked at a lot of the tools in there, but let's go down this page. Remember, I just clicked on this here, which was just the starting point of research. But I then do have additional topics then if I wanted to find these other topic overviews that are, that are kind of connected with my main topic that I searched. Or now I have the option to see a few of the articles that it's suggesting. Here's my view all results. And then I have a few ebooks that it's suggesting, and any videos that it might have access to are also then available at the bottom. Let's look at this because this is kind of the meat of the page here. Anytime you're in any of the Exploras, click on any of those browsable areas. This really then gets you to the full search results. So remember, I'm searching multiple databases, multiple um, publications within all of those databases. And I didn't have to type this in. I'm still just following that browse path. Here's that same kind of topic overview there. I do have some ebooks. So if you look, I have it's pretty clear that this is an ebook. Here is an article. It's out of Nation magazine from May 2026. Notice that I did not tell the system, give me the newest information first. The system knows that most likely you want newer information about your topic. Most likely you want a little bit of longer information about your topic, not necessarily like a newspaper article that's one paragraph. It's gonna it's going to give you a paper with 3 or 4 pages or even 20 pages over that newspaper article typically, because it's kind of just thinking that you want to know that your keywords are in, the key metadata, which would be the name of the article title or ebook title, anything within the abstract, which is just the description of the document. And notice that my search term was artificial intelligence, but the system already knows, oh, that's AI too. So it knows that it has a mapping tool in the background too, where it's saying, okay, I know that this word is also this word. And then it does that so that the user at the top then doesn't have to say artificial intelligence or AI or machine learning or, whatever it happens to be. So if I look here, I want to just show you then, I do have these kind of filters here if I'm just looking for ebooks. These I would say are very similar to the source types. So if I did look at the source types, I'm seeing here magazines and academic journals. So most likely this is a little bit more popular reading materials. This is a little higher level reading materials, reviews on artificial intelligence. This is going to be coming out of newspapers, trade publications. Then I have books, biographies, ebooks. So I do have here then a real different way that I can then filter. And I can filter here by the content type. Here is also the content type or source type. Here's a real quick way to then get rid of anything that isn't peer reviewed. So get rid of the popular reading materials, other reading materials. This is then going to filter down really quickly. I'm going to just uncheck that again. You can see here that anything you see here at the top that's highlighted, that's already kind of invoked. So I didn't have to choose, will show me only items that have full text. The system librarians in Inspire said, well, you know what, we're going to already filter to that. And this may not always be the case when you go in. So just kind of review when you go into any of the interfaces. If you do have anything here, and it's kind of telling you here also, like, oh, hey, you already have one filter on. And this shows me what it is. I could also just click that and then it tells me what it is here. So I can see that active filter here. And I do see that question. I'll answer that in a minute. Let's just review. I just wanted to show you then some additional filters that you have. So if you did want to filter by date, you can also use one of the quick filters here by date. But I really wanted to show you this, the publications, because as I'm looking through this, remember I did artificial intelligence. You're getting things from New Scientist and USA Today, and then the Scientific News and Scientific America and Popular Science and the Smithsonian Magazine. So lots and lots of different articles coming out of these resources, just to give you an idea of what you're searching here. A lot of times when I'm showing users how to use any of the interfaces, I always want to start with a simpler search term, so not a long book title or not just a drawn out, you know, a bunch of words here, a bunch of words with your topic. Start with the simple search term and use the filters. Why is that? Because the filters are really going to help you then. And one of the best filter to use here in any of the interfaces is the subject filter. So if I look at the subject filter, I see that I have options, AI again, we have a lot of new kind of buzzwords that we're trying to learn. So generative artificial intelligence, what about language models? What about if I just want to focus on the chat bots that are being developed? So here, what's going on with social media and artificial intelligence? So here is where I can filter down. And as soon as I do this, remember you're going from more to less anytime you're using these filters over here. So if I did want to focus on, let's just focus on robots and um, let's just go ahead and choose robotics and automation. So if you notice, even though I chose three, I'm going to go from 77,000 to a little bit over. Let's just see. So if I update my selections here and apply, I'm now then doing a search still on artificial intelligence, but I'm now filtered and I've used those filters of the article must contain information about robots or robotics and automation. So those three things. So now I've really narrowed down my focus. So here, that's a funny one, AI for the pores. So here's something about space. And let's go ahead. If you notice now, for some articles, I have an option for the PDF version. That would be just as if I took the magazine over to the color copier and made copies of it and handed it to the user. Or that online version or the text version, which is just what we saw, just more of a text. Let's look at that PDF version. And you're going to notice you're going to have a lot of the same tools. So you have the similar tools here. The only one you don't have is the translate. So when you're in the PDF, there is no native way to translate it. But if you have that need, there's online tools for that. But we already went through the majority of these, so we know that this is available. And then I see that I'm reading. Remember, I said just as if we went to the color copier and made a copy of it. So I'm getting all of the pictures and any graphs, any charts, and then the full information about what the article says. So if I did again want to use any of these tools, the one tool that I didn't show you is making a project, which would be making a folder to save and organize my research for later. Also, maybe I just want to save it in a general folder, which would then need for me to make a My EBSCO account. So if I wanted to try it from here, it says, hey, it's saved, but you better sign in because all you did was save it for this session. So if I close this really quickly, well, where'd it go? It knew I was from Inspire, but it didn't know I was Lisa Jones. So when you're logged into any EBSCO resource, you are, and you want to then say you're doing some research, you're going to come back to the library the next day, or you're showing students how then to kind of save their work. They're working on a project, working on a paper, um, or if it's a patron, whatever. Anyone that wants to save items from any interface from EBSCO. So even though I'm an Explorer in secondary schools, I can create an account super easy. I just want to show you this. I'm not going to do it, but I do want to show you that it's only asked for first name. So and it asks for you to create a username. And actually this is a little different because of the COPA compliancy than the what you have to do with as your adult. But either way, it's super simple. It's basically asking you for like two, three things when you're an adult. The reason why I ask you this when you're a kid is because it's not asking you for an email address. If you're in one of the adult interfaces, it'll ask you for an email because then that's how you can get your password back if you lose it. And that's really the only reason why we're even collecting your email is just in case you want to get your password back. Um, so that's something that's super simple to do. And it's a good thing to know if users, if they don't want to print a lot of things off or save a lot of things to a flash. There's a way to save it online. They can do this in the library. And then when they can go home, they can log into EBSCO and still find and log into my EBSCO, and their articles are going to be there in any interface. So I do see, I'm going to go ahead and stop for a minute and make some few comments and answer some questions. So there's one question that says, is there a way to see a list of the encyclopedias included in the database? So there are lots of different ways, well, not lots of different ways, but there are a couple ways that you can see like a title list. So if you're looking for title lists for your databases, or if you just let me see. So from the interface, and because we're just searching, so we know, this is one right here. This is just one encyclopedia. Um, so let me just kind of table that for a minute. And like I said, there is a way to get title lists, and there is a way then to, let's see, if we go to advanced search, find like publications here. So I just went to advanced search. And I have then some new options because I'm searching multiple databases. I do have options to search for the title list in multiple databases. And I could just use the keyword, like let's just choose, if I chose like Moss Ultra, which is going to be that one of the biggest databases in here. And I could use something like this and I don't like to spell that word, encyclopedia. And let's just see and I'll just take that off. So I'm searching in one of the databases. This has over 500 and something magazines and journals, but let's see if it also does include any encyclopedias. Remember, I moved this over. I could do this with any kind of publication I'm looking for, if I'm looking for a specific title, or if I'm looking for, let's just say, science journals or STEM, So you could use your keywords here, and let's just see. So this basically is showing me one here, So again, I think I'll give you a better answer, and probably that's usually something we would probably have to then ask support to create for you that list, because they're going to be in multiple databases, right? Um, not just in Moss Ultra, and there is just that one whole database that's just the Funk and Wagnalls. So the time embargo for magazine articles, I like that question too. Sometimes there are embargoes, and basically what that means is, let's go ahead and just do the search again. So if you look at, and typically embargoes don't happen for popular reading magazines. Here's Nation Magazine, Science News, and Time Magazine. And then let's get rid of those filters. So look, I'm going to just clear all here. It's actually going to clear my full text filter too, but majority of your items are full text here. But I'm looking maybe more for a little bit higher level academic. Most likely in the Explorers, you're not going to see much embargoes. Um, Let me see here. I'm just going to look at those publication titles again. Yeah, there's really not any academic journals in here that I'm finding. That's typically going to be something with an academic journal. And the one thing is when you have, like, let's just say that what an embargo is, it means that Nation Magazine says, okay, by the way, I'm going to release every single article that we have, all the back issues, everything, but I'm not going to release it until 3 months after it's been published. So Nation Magazine itself is going to be able to have the only access to those articles within the last 3 months. Then it starts releasing, right? Um, and then as soon as it releases, it gets into the database. But what will happen is basically, if this was embargoed, you wouldn't see a full text link to it, right? Um, and then if it was embargoed, you'd also see a note of that saying this does have an embargo, and usually you're going to see that note in those publication files where it has an embargo and it tells you of 3 or 6 or 9 months or 12 months. And again, that's typically in the academic world, in the higher level academic journals. So I think there's another question here that says, there's a drop down list in quite a few years for the magazines I've not experimented. Oh, yeah. So same thing, you're right. When I was, and I can go here, browse by publications or subjects, or I can go to the advanced search the way I did, and I can find those same filters there. The publication search and subject search is basically building your search for you by using the subject terms that are assigned to each article. The additional research tools that I have, just some helpful tools that I might use. These tools are a lot different than when I go into a higher or into like regular EBSCO host. Remember, I'm in more of a K-12 environment, so I'm going to have things like help with citations and research guides and the curriculum standards, and I won't have those things when I'm in just plain EBSCO host. So again, I will go back over to that publications. And then let's do this. Let me do that. So if I did popular science, let's just go into popular mechanics. So I can see here's a list of all my titles. If I see this, that means, okay, this is going to be, I'll go into popular science. It's going to be available for me. Then I get to the journal page here. And it looks like then that this stopped being published most likely in 2020. Let's go back and look at the other one. So this is just a back um, kind of your back issues here. So and what you have on your electronic shelves. So when I'm searching this database, I am searching all of these back issues too. So I do have all of the articles within here, all the way up to the latest one, which was July and August for this one topic. And then here, since I'm on this page, I do have the ability to search only in this journal, and I also would see the embargo information here, so it would tell me. So the publication search is available on all the interfaces. That's typically more something probably that a librarian would do, not necessarily an end user or a researcher. So I know we're getting close or closer to the time. I want to actually get out of, I've shown you, let me slow down here. I've shown you a lot of tools that go in between all of the interfaces. But let's jump into another interface now because we've been in secondary Explorer. And remember, we have then multiple other places to go. So if I went to the adult page, I'm going to see a health interface. This is going to be one of those specialized interfaces that only focuses and has the database of consumer health complete. A lot of times we have the interface and the database are named the same, and they're using Explora as their kind of back-end interface. So if I'm looking here, I actually want to do the databases A to Z. So this is where we're choosing then the resource. And it gives you the information about what you're looking at. So this is, remember, and if I looked at this page, I'm going to show you kind of like your platinum, right, on this page. So Academic Search Complete, number one, um, database in the world that's sold to higher level academics. So if you're working with high school students, if you're working with college students, if you are yourself doing any kind of research, this is going to include a lot more of the, it's going to get rid of a lot of those popular reading magazines and include then the academic journals. So if you notice, there's 4,000 full text scholarly publications, and that means hundreds of thousands of articles within those publications to date and back in this one resource here. So this would almost be my number one. If I just have a multidisciplinary question at a higher level, I'm going to probably just use academic search. So then you have also then specialized databases, and just by the name of it, what it's going to include. Uh, so if I continue to go down, this here, Business Source Complete, and another huge platinum piece that you have, and that just it includes so much information. And it is also, again, the number one business database in the world. So when I do a lot of trainings, I'm showing Business Source to huge corporations and to large academic environments. So this really is something that you should know about and be using and just kind of have an idea. And the one thing you could do, take this here, if some of you that said, oh, I really want to know maybe what else is in this. Like this tells me, oh, it's backdated. Take this Business Source Complete, the whole thing, and Business Source Complete. This is how, and you don't even have to put EBSCO. This is how a lot of times I figure out what is in these resources. So forget about all this money stuff, but what you're doing, there's different versions of Business Source. That's why I said put the whole name in. You have the complete version. Guess what? You have 1700. When it says active, that means that it is, to date, that things are being updated for each month, for each quarter. So then you have a lot of peer-reviewed journals. Remember, I said a lot of these are more higher level academic. So the majority of those active are going to be peer reviewed. And then, so I'm just going to skip down here. This is telling me it has things like academic, Academy of Management Journal, blah, 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 Management Science, Forbes, Fortune, Business Week, Bloomberg, MIS Quarterly. And if you look at this, then it does also have a lot of non-English language content and open access journals in it. A lot of then case studies and company profiles and industry reports. So again, this is not a business source uh, class, but the one thing when I look at this is like, please, this is something that you should all be looking at, reviewing, and finding. And remember, I said too remember I said you could get title lists. So if you're looking for any database that you're looking at and you're like, well, I wonder if what certain titles, and I just want to see the whole list, they're all available on ebsco.com when you search the database name. You can access the title list for just this one database. So thanks for that, highlighting that. Let's go ahead and do one search. And you do have the ebook collections too, don't forget. And if you notice, I have 12,000 and 15,000 and 4,800 and 60,000. So you're searching a lot of different ebooks here. And I think what I do want to clarify is that this is searching everything. It's searching the K-8, the high school, and the public library. Okay, so this is searching all three of these. These are going to be smaller containers that are kind of age focused or population focused. So if you're just looking for ebooks, you can do that. I also have, a lot of different resources. There's my Exploras that I can jump into. We know what those are now. Those are, uh, a lot of databases together searching that are pre-chosen for you. I don't have to choose them on this page. Health resources. I'm just kind of quickly going down here. The majority of these, there's your literary reference center, your going to be your science reference center down here, your history reference center, newspapers. All of these things then are available either individually going from here, or a lot of times they're included in those different Exploras. So let's go ahead and go into EBS. And so any time you click on the majority of these, you're either going to go into the specialized Explorer, or you're going to go into EBSCO host. So let's look at then um, let's just look at one of the other specialized explorers, and I'll just jump in and jump out again, and then we'll go into EBSCO host. So let's go ahead and look at a Science Reference Center. So remember, I was in the middle source. So it looks very much the same, right? So again, once you learn one, you're going to know about all the others. So you're only searching. Look, I'm not searching 17 anymore. I'm searching the database, the ebook collection, and then the topic overviews that go with. And these are going to be the topic overviews here. A lot more that are kind of hidden in the background. Same kind of way that I can go through the browse, same other options here, some ebooks. Same way I'm going to go through the browse here on biology. I'm going to look at animal behavior. And then I'm going to look at view all results, and I'm getting to those same pages. But I'm only searching, the container is smaller and it's focusing on science, on science, right? So lots and lots of information here. And then notice that I do have things like Science News, which is a little older, but I also have Ranger Rick, which is a little younger. Did anyone notice my Lexile filter here? That was in the other resource too. So if I did, even if you don't use Lexiles in your region, just kind of know, like, when do you start reading, right? Start reading maybe, 5 years old. So the lower the level, that's going to be the younger the reading age. So if you look at this is going to be adult, this is going to be adult, this is going to be adult. These are going to be a little, then you get lower and lower. So if you did want to filter out some of the kids' resources here, you could then use some of these. Let's just say I want to use those 2 or 3, and then apply, and then I'm going to get rid of some of those lower level reading resources. So you notice how then that Ranger Rick is gone. Thanks for that. 10 minutes left. So yeah, let me know then if you have any additional questions. I did say let's just look at EBSCO host because it's a little plainer. And so when I'm going from that A to Z database page and I click on, let's just say business source, or academic search, then I come right into an advanced search page like this. I don't have that browsable, those pictures anymore, those graphics anymore. But notice that when I go here, then here is where I kind of have what you similar have on your A to Z list. It's a little different. But here is where if I just wanted to deselect all, I could go into that business source here and review that, and just do something like digital manipulation. As soon as I come up with my keywords, then I see that it's all the same now, right? So same kind of information that I have to review. I do maybe want to quickly add. Remember, I said sometimes you're not going to have those filters pre-selected for you. So just kind of pay attention to that. If you're only looking for stuff you can read right now, then just quickly invoke the full text, and then now you have those additional access options. You're having, because we're searching business source, we do have, yeah, I think maybe they hid that here, different options and different resources here. There are different ways that you can filter. But it's the same kind of thing where I am reading the resource and then I have options to save or just move on. So let's look at this one. I'm just going to kind of show you once you get in there and get past, uh, those first couple pages, then it's all the same. You have then your options here, and then you can read the article here. That wasn't very good choice there. It's kind of a little fuzzy. So any questions at all? Let me know if there's additional questions, or if there's anything on this page that I didn't review that you're like, oh, I was hoping Lisa would look at this one thing. Then let's do that now. Let me know if there's any areas or any other databases that you wanted me to focus on. I think that I'm hoping that this gave you just a real good base of kind of where to get started and then not be, and I'm not going to say intimidated, but I'm saying a lot of times if you haven't used these resources before, it can be a little like, oh no, where do I start? Or should I scroll down? Should I do this? Should I put in a search term? What are these up here? So hopefully you're a little grounded and a little more confident when you need to help people to research to find resources for your library. And then Meg or Lisa, let me know if there's any other areas that you want me to review.
Yeah, if anyone would like to review a certain area or have Lisa go over something again, please put that in the chat. Otherwise, if you have any other questions, feel free to put that in the chat. Oh, Robert. Robert
Okay.
says, earlier you showed that English can be translated into another language. Did you say that other languages cannot be translated into English and why?
Yeah, so the system right now is only translating English into other languages. I don't know if we're working on, because we are kind of promoting more and more all the resources that we have that are international and that start out non-English. I don't know if we're working on anything to go the other way, but I do know that a lot of times there are browser plugins or other kind of outside resources that you can get to kind of handle that. And then I'll use that question to let you know that EBSCO's interfaces have been changing. They are evolving. They've been changed a lot in the last couple of years, and we do have a big product management team that continues to evolve and change the resources and add different options like you're asking about. And so if you are the library administrator, you can have the ability to sign in and request changes. And really, it's not going to be like, oh, I need to request this. Okay, immediately we're going to change that for you, Robert. But there is, we do have a whole roadmap that's available that we're working on things. So if enough people are saying, hey, we need everything to be translated, no matter what language it is,
Mhm.
then that's the kind of thing that will then be added to the roadmap and then introduced into the interfaces. So you can give direct feedback if you are a library administrator with case management within EBSCO or within the Connect area. The one thing tool that I said that I was going to that I promised you at the beginning was the ability to then search for promotional materials. So I just went to connect.ebsco.com. I'm not logged in. I don't need to be. I can find information or ask a question here, but really what I want to do, I went to tools and resources and just look for promotional tools. And let's say that I'm looking for um, promotional tools on the History Reference Center. Our library is going to have a program, and I know we have that big reference center. And here it is. So if I do want to add something to my website, I can. But really, here is then let's see. So here's a whole social media kit. There is a scavenger word hunt, um, promotional text if you're sending out an email, posters. So you can see lots and lots of helpful information. Remember, I said starting points because you can take these PDFs and break them if you have a PDF writer and then just kind of make it your own. So lots of help there. Remember, I was just on Connect and I went to tools
Yeah.
and resources and went to the promotional materials.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much for showing us that, Lisa. While you were talking, Amanda um, said thank you so much for showing all of this. I also love the Learning Express library, and I used the Learning Express library to help me prepare for a lot of CLEP and DSSST tests for college credit for my business degree. So I know there's others who have used Learning Express library and other things
I'm
with
looking to see
EBSCO for their degree. It's been,
I'm looking to see if Shayna put a Learn Express, or did you already have one? I know that
uh,
here it is here.
yep, on December 2nd.
So
Yep, yeah. And I guess like at this time, I just want to say thank you so much, Lisa, for presenting today, for everyone being here. The next What's Up Wednesday in the EBSCO series will be September 30th. And we will be navigating and reviewing the Business Source Complete interface. But like Lisa showed, December 2nd, we'll be going over Learning Express Library. So be aware of those two. You can register for them right now. Another webinar to be aware of is the Roundtable Informational Interest Meeting. And that is from the Professional Development Office, and it is open for registration right now. And we will be meeting on Thursday, August 6th at 11 a.m. for that. So I hope we get to see all of you again for our EBSCO series or at the roundtable. But as a reminder, if you are watching an archived recording of this presentation, information on how to obtain your LEU is in the video's description in YouTube. I will also send out LEUs to everyone who attended in person today, and we'll hopefully get those out when I get back next week. So, um, tomorrow and Friday are pretty busy, so I will try and get those out as soon as I can. Until then, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And if there are any more questions, please feel free to email me, and I will send that to Lisa so she can facilitate those questions.
thanks, everybody. Thanks, Meg and Lisa. Have a good day.